So I'm going to be explaining to you on why the number one focus heading into tomorrow's game plan is going to be to buy call options on the SPY. I'm going to walk you through the new information I have for you with the new levels of interest where we are planning to buy call options. In terms of today's overall trading, as a collective, as a whole, we ended up going 4 for 8 with a 50% win rate. In terms of my first trade, it was a phenomenal trade, very well calculated. I'm going to be walking you through the trading strategy that I ended up using to make nearly 100% profit return on that first overall trade. Then I had 2 losses in a row. Then I had another win that went up 100% nearly. In terms of G-Roar's trades, he ended up going 2 for 4 as well. His final trade on the day was a 1,000% return. So even with a 50% win rate and with those losses factored in, if you were to take all the trades, you would be up very, very well, net positive with that 1,000% gain, along with a couple 100% profit returns. So let's get straight into the new game plan. So in terms of the new game plan, I brought a lot of awareness to this in last night's game plan. It's going to be the weekly chart. So in terms of the weekly chart pattern, right? And keep in mind, these on the bottom of these weekly candles were at previous resistance levels. So these were breaks and retest, right? So this is the break and retest on the weekly chart, along with the patterns on the weekly candles, right? So you have this pin right here, and then you have this red bearish candle right here. So you have this pin right here, then you have this red bearish candle right here. So you have this pin right here, then you have this red bearish candle right here. And then in terms of what happens the next week is very strong and bullish. It did end up dropping a little bit under the previous week lows. Then it was a strong bullish green week. And then you can see right here, the next week with the same pattern in the break and the retest and the higher floor at the previous weekly highs towards here, did end up dropping even lower than the previous week. And then it was a strong bullish week where it ended up topping towards the previous week highs. You know, in terms of this situation, it formed higher support. So it ended up having a much stronger break above the previous week highs in terms of how we're currently setting up as of now. So this is what we need to be aware of in terms of following this overall pattern. In terms of this overall weekly chart pattern, we can still be setting up for a very bullish trend week. We're confirming this overall history and pattern one step at a time as day traders and finding ways to capitalize on these overall patterns and levels. With that being said, what I wanted to bring awareness to is the following. We did end up dropping under the previous week lows, just like we did right here with the pattern, right? So in terms of the drop, if you were to measure the overall move, this was from 578.55 all the way down to 575.35, right? So in that situation, a 3-point drop. In terms of the overall drop we have right here, 599.50, right? And then if you go to the week's lows, 596.50, right? So if you were to measure the overall move, we already dropped 3 points. So for history to repeat itself in a very similar cycle, we need to stay above the following level. Now, before I get into that following level, right, I want to explain to you another reason on why I'm very bullish as well, the daily chart pattern. The number one focus heading into tomorrow is going to be call options. Now, this is what I want to bring awareness in terms of what the daily chart pattern is saying, right? In terms of the daily chart pattern and for the weekly chart pattern, we just really need to maintain where we bottom today to be overall bullish. If not, there's one more level of consideration. I'll be going over that here shortly. So just keep that in mind. But in terms of the daily chart pattern and how we're setting up on this overall daily chart, this is what I want to bring awareness to. So in terms of this daily chart, this daily candlestick right here, this looks very similar to this candlestick right here, very similar to this candlestick right here, very similar to this candlestick right here, very similar to this candlestick right here. Based off of what the daily chart is saying, even if the previous closing price, 597, reacts as a resistance level and we drop, or even if we gap down, the SPY is going to try to close as a bullish daily candlestick heading into tomorrow, right? So if the previous closing price reacts bearish, or if we're gapping down, we're going to be looking for oversold dip buying opportunities. Now, if we're not gapping down and the previous closing price 597 is reacting bearish, you can try a scalp on puts if there's a strong bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmation. But based off the daily chart, in terms of the overall trend, it's going to try to close green and bullish, right? So with the daily chart being addressed along with the weekly chart, this is what I want to go over. I'm going to be going over the 20-day, 30-minute chart, and this is what I want to bring awareness to, right? So in terms of the levels, right, this is what you need to be aware of. To have a very strong bullish overall week where we retest 610 later into this week, the SPY needs to stay above 595, right? So keep an eye on this overall pattern. We had some extended hour support right here towards 597.70 and some extended hour support right here towards 597.80, right? So I told you in terms of the oversold dip buying levels, those are going to be more of an auto buy level, right? If you're seeing opportunities, there is no reason to be buying call options directly at market open because again, there's just red bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations, right? In terms of my first overall trade that I ended up making on the day, it was this one. And one thing that I want you to be aware of as a trader, your first trade should be very strategic. It is your first trade on the overall day. So well before you make your first trade, you should have a lot of awareness in terms of what can potentially happen beforehand with multiple trade ideas to go long and to go short. You should be laser focused on the right confirmations. It's your first fucking trade. You always want to start your day off green in that particular situation, especially if you're sizing in accordingly. You know, there's some people, if you size in less and they just want to gain experience and they don't care for that and they just want to feel of the overall price action, there's people who do that. They literally don't care if they lose on their first trade. But in terms of like a well-calculated trade, 12:10 p.m., this was the first trade that I made on the day on 602 SPY calls at 43 cents, right? So if you go to 12:10 p.m., you're going to see right here, this is where I ended up buying these overall calls. I timed it perfectly. I bought these calls at the exact lows and they quickly went from 40 cents all the way to 80 cents. That's a 100% profit return. And there was no pullbacks. There was no pullbacks until they went up 100%. So if you set the profit stop and moved it up higher, you should have been stopped out for a bare minimum of 70%. Now, with that being said, in terms of the overall calls and the reasoning on, why I did this, it was very simple. I was well aware that I wanted to buy call options at oversold levels. In terms of the oversold levels that I gave you, I was keeping an eye on 600, but looking at the reaction, we were just breaking through 600, right? We were just cracking through with red bearish 30-minute candlestick confirmations, no reason for fucking calls, right? So 600 was one of my levels to be buying calls, but there was a bearish reaction. And I wanted to buy calls as well at oversold levels, but I chose not to get in at the oversold levels because in my eyes, there was lack of confirmation. So this is what I decided to do. I decided to wait for a break and retest. You can see right here, this 30-minute candlestick right here is identical to this 30-minute candlestick, right? So keep in mind, I bought those calls at 12:10 p.m. This right here, this overall 30-minute candlestick, it opened at 11:30 a.m. I bought my calls in the beginning of this green 30-minute candlestick. Why did I do that? Because SPY bottomed for 90 minutes, almost 2 hours, at an oversold support level, meaning that weekly chart was expected to flip bullish because we're having a lot of consolidation. And then I looked at the 30-minute chart and I said, okay, there's a red trend reversal candlestick right here. What happens next 30 minutes? Strong bullish green breakout. And then I said, oh shit, the same red trend reversal 30-minute candlestick is forming, and it's forming at the previous closing price. So we are having a break, a retest, a higher floor, break and retest to turn 600 into support. And I studied how it reacted right here. Next 30 minutes is bullish, next 30 minutes is bullish. That's why I hopped in calls. You see how strategic that is, right? So that goes to show you, you need to wait for a confirmation and a strategy. So we were interested in buying calls at 600, but the 30-minute chart was red and fucking bearish. So we identified that there was resistance at 600 and there was, key interest to buy calls at 600. So like I said, you need a breakout and a retest, a strategy, and a confirmation 30-minute chart. Look at how it reacted right here, bullish. Look at how it reacted right here, bullish. So when I noticed that 30-minute candle in the 1-minute, 5-minute chart was reacting bullish, I bought the calls, right? So I hope that makes sense. In terms of what I just broke down, I basically explained to you, if you watched the video last night, I explained to you in terms of the levels, how if you go back and you watch the previous video, it explains to you how I came up with the levels. But I basically just showed you the difference between a confirmation, there's no confirmation to be buying calls. Oh, now there's a breakout at a level where we wanted to buy calls, and there's a retest, and there's a 30-minute pattern that's saying that the next 30 minutes is going to be bullish, right? So the point is, wait for the level to react the way you want it to react. Combine the level with a strategy and a confirmation, right? 600 was the level, and 600 is reacting bearish. So wait for the level to react the way you want it to react. I was long biased at the level, but my strategy isn't to just blindly buy into a bias. So I waited for a break, I waited for a retest, I waited for a 30-minute confirmation right here, 30-minute confirmation right here, and that same 30-minute pattern has been working very, very well. If you've been, watching the chart on SPY, you can see right here, same pattern. This is resistance. This is a break above resistance. This is a retest. This is the 30-minute trend reversal candlestick that I just showed you. And then it's bullish, right? I believe I even pointed this out in terms of last night's video. So it just goes to show you, oh, here we go again. This is resistance. This is a break. This is a fucking retest. This is the 30-minute trend reversal candle. So it just goes to show you on how well you can trade at levels if you react accordingly and you wait for a strategy in play. So break and retest. At first it was reacting bearish at resistance, waited for a break, waited for a retest, waited for a 30-minute trend reversal confirmation. That explains the first overall trade, right? And in terms of your first overall trade, if you have a nice green trade where you're up 100% and then you flip red on the day, that's your personal fucking choice to go from green to red on a day, because losing is a personal choice. If you have a nice win starting off the day, you shouldn't be risking more than 25 to 50% of your overall profits, especially if you're making like a 70% plus profit return. So just keep that in mind. So in terms of my first trade, is very successful. Then I had 2 losses after that. Then I had a one trade that went up 100% 3 minutes on SPX. I'll be going over that towards the end of this video. But anyways, man, what you need to understand is in terms of this overall game plan, this is very simple, right? So if you just go, like I said, if you go back throughout the 20-day, 30-minute chart, an auto buy level for calls, if shit hits the fucking fan and we drop to 594.50, or if we drop to even 591 to 592, just buy fucking calls. Just auto buy the fucking calls at those fucking levels. This extended hours support that has not been tested here, break, retest, hasn't been tested, that will likely react to support and bounce first towards that 595 to 594.50. And then this level right here, this break, retest, extended hours has not been tested, 591, just buy fucking calls. If shit hits the fan, and in terms of how shit hits the fan and when to be bearish, if previous closing price reacts as a resistance, forming a roof, is gonna start to drop to the oversold territory, right? If we have a massive gap down, it's gonna bottom at one of those fucking zones. Use the oversold zones that I gave you to buy calls. If the previous closing price reacts bearish, you can potentially look to go with the higher one. If we're having a massive gap down, you can look to potentially go with the lower one. If you're seeing confirmations of one of the zones, buy the fucking calls. If the first zone doesn't work, you should be able to figure out how to go green within the overall second zone, especially trading farther money zero-day options. That's the game plan in terms of calls if previous closing price reacts bearish or if we're having a massive gap down. Now, if previous closing price does react bearish, you can attempt puts for a move to 595, right? You could try puts if previous closing price reacts bearish. But in terms of if we're reacting bullish or if we're gapping up, the main focus is going to be the break and retest levels. So in terms of the market overall bottoming, for this to be the bottom, we need to stay above the previous day lows. If we hold above the previous day lows, the SPY will attempt to have a bullish overall day and not go back to those new oversold levels, right? So if we're holding above the previous day lows towards this 596.50, the SPY is overall bullish. In terms of the break and retest levels that we're going to be looking to buy calls as long as the SPY is holding above previous day lows, right? 596.70, we're going to be keeping an eye on this level right here, 598.50. 598.50. If we break above this level, drop back down, react to support, or if you're just seeing bullish 30-minute candlestick confirmations, bullish 30-minute patterns at this level, we are buying calls at 598.50. So think of 596.70 as your make or break hitting on a thread level. If it cracks, reacts bearish, shit hits the fucking fan, and try puts. Think of 598.50 as your break and retest level. Breaks, retest, buy fucking calls. 30-minute candlestick confirmations, buy fucking calls. Previous closing price, slightly in the middle, right? You can keep an eye on it, but that's the middle level. In terms of the next level above that, 600. So break and retest level 600. Next level we go to is 601.50. Next level we go to is 602.50. Next level we go to is 603.50. Next level we go to is 604.50. Next level we go to is 607.20. Next level we go to is 610. Best levels for puts, 607 and 610, as long as we are staying above the previous day's lows, right? So use that information. Very, very simple. Crack under previous day lows and previous closing price reacts as a resistance, you can try puts. And then if you do try puts and we're reacting bearish in that zone, you could try calls at the oversold levels. Oversold level is going to be 594 and 595 and 591, right? Now, if we're maintaining above the previous closing price, and we see that 598.50 react to support, buy the fucking calls. Next level above that, 600, buy the fucking calls. Next level above that, 601.50, buy the fucking calls. right? And don't keep on chasing fucking calls. Go with those levels that I gave you with the break and retest. Focus on the lower ones. Focus on the lower ones. 598.50, 601.50, 602.50. Focus on those lower ones, man. In terms of when SPY is going to go fucking crazy bullish, like a crazy breakout, once this 602.50 can break, drop back down, react to support, that's when this is going to go fucking flying to 607. So 602.50 is going to be a major level to watch, right? Use the information I gave you. Use the overall levels. Just understand in terms of tomorrow, no matter what the fuck happens, it's likely going to try to be bullish, right? So if we're bearish first, look for the oversold dip buying opportunities on calls later in the day. If we're bullish first, focus on those oversold levels that I gave you, the higher ones, starting at 598.50, right? And then 600, and then 601.50, 601.50, so 598.50, 600, and 601.50. Focus on those. That is the overall game plan. Now, in terms of the trades that we ended up making, let's get straight into this. So this was the first trade that I made on the day. So like I said, in terms of the first trade, if we have a trade that's going up like 70% plus, we have a nice win, that should be big enough for you to call for the day. If you choose to keep on trading, you do not risk more than 25 to 50% of your gains, right? So if you choose to keep trading and you lose 25 to 50% of your gains, you have to force yourself to stop, because if you keep going, you're going to expose yourself to go green to red. And green to red is not an option in terms of surviving within this overall market when you are already green enough to call it for a day. And like I said, percentage wise, I mean, if you're up like nearly 100% on a trade, you should be green enough to just walk away, right? So just keep that in mind, man, because you're going to see we make a lot of trades. But like I said, if we start off the day with the wins in the beginning, there's no fucking reason to be fucking red if you're trading and following along with the system, even if we have some L's after the first win, because if the first win's big enough, you should be green enough to call it. And then if you choose to keep on trading, 25 to 50% of your gains at the max risk, right? So in terms of my overall trades, that was the first one, timed fucking perfectly. 601 calls, this did not work out. This was towards power hour, towards 2 p.m. 600 calls, did not work out. This is towards power hour, towards 2 p.m., right? So like I said, man, if the first win is big enough, if you have 2 losses in a row, you should still be green on the fucking day. Risk management 101. Now, in terms of my final trade, this was a very nice trade. So this was my final trade on the day. It was at 6015 SPX calls at 115 cents. So G-War and I, we both crushed it on SPX today. He ended up crushing it on puts. I ended up crushing it on the call side with SPX, right? So I had 3 trades on SPY before this. The first one was a win, 2 were losses in a row. And then at 3:31 p.m., I ended up buying 6015 calls at 115 cents at 3:31 p.m. So if you go to 3:31 p.m., you're going to see, just like on the first trade, I bought this at the exact fucking lows. So this right here, this is where I ended up getting in. Let me walk you through this. It was towards the exact lows. So in terms of this overall trade, let me see. So 3:31, 6015 SPX calls, right? So if you go to 6015, excuse me, I wanted to clarify this. So I actually had 2 trades on SPX. Let me walk you through this here. Excuse me, it was just 2 trades. So in terms of this trade, this one, 6015, right? So if you go to 6015, let me plug this in here. So in terms of this overall trade at 3:31 p.m., so this is where I ended up getting in at 3:31 p.m. So as soon as I got in, it was at the exact fucking lows, like I said, and this went from 120 all the way to 225. So those calls almost went up 100% in the span of 3 fucking minutes. This is where I got in at 3:31 p.m. And then 2 minutes later, they went from 112 cents all the way to 225 cents, right? And you guys are well aware to set your fucking profit stops when you're up 15%. When you're up 15% on a trade, make sure you set the profit stops so you don't go green to red. SPX can change within the span of fucking seconds to minutes. It can move 100% plus. Set the fucking profit stops. You won't go fucking red if you're already green above 15%. So with that being said, that was the first one. It went from 115 to 220 in fucking 2 minutes. And then the second one was a lot better. This was the one at 3:46 p.m. So at 3:46 p.m., you go to 6005. So if we go to 6005, you're going to see right here, this is where I got in. Right here, 3:46 p.m. This is the exact fucking lows, just like the fucking last one, right? So in terms of my day, I actually had 5 trades on the day, and both of the SPX trades went up 100% plus, right? So this is net positive. So 600 SPX 5 calls, 245 cents at 3:46 p.m. So right here, this is where I got in at the exact fucking lows, and then it went from 200 all the way to 470, right? So they went up over 100% plus within 2 fucking minutes, right? And then you can see they just crashed right back down to 5 cents. So like I said, make sure you're setting the fucking profit stops like we say all the fucking time. And then if you're green enough with one big win or two small wins in a row, the most you risk is 25 to 50%. Make sure you're fucking applying this, or you're going to go red every single fucking day if you're not applying this information that I'm fucking telling you. Now, in terms of the next trades, those were the trades that I ended up making. So that's 3 for 5. SPX were all wins that you could have had if you were very quick in and out. You always got to have your option chains open and ready. SPY was 1 for 3. Now, in terms of the trades that we ended up making, so GWAR, these are the trades that he called out. Let me walk you through this. Google calls did not work out. As soon as we got in, it was just a small little spike, but overall, really didn't work out in a sense, and that was the first trade on the overall day. In terms of the next trade, phenomenal. 9:43 a.m. We ended up buying 598 SPY puts for 68 cents a contract, right? So if you go to 598 puts, it's 60. You go to 598 puts. This is where we ended up getting in right here. So if you go to, like I said, 9:43 a.m. This is where we got in at the exact fucking lows, and these fucking puts on SPY went from 60 cents all the way to 270 fucking cents within 30 minutes. Within 30 fucking minutes, these calls went from 60 to fucking 270 cents, man. Who the fuck do you know is doing that? That's a 300% plus profit return potential that you could have made on that overall fucking trade, man. And look at this, everything's alerted in real time on where to set your profit stops. 9:53 a.m. set your profit stops. So right here, you're setting your profit stops when the trade is at 100 cents plus a contract, right? Bring your stops closer, right? So everything is explained and what to do. Ended up selling at 140 cents a contract, right? So that one massive win for sure made up on the Google play if you took the fucking Google play, right? And then this is the full breakdown on the overall trade in terms of, where we get in, where we set the profit stops, where we add, where we move the profit stops. We're always adding to winners to increase the fucking winnings, right? And then in terms of the next trade, 594 SPY puts did not work out. So in terms of that overall situation, that's 1 for 3. But again, this is why the win rate doesn't matter. This trade went from 60 to fucking 270. And there was really no reason, unless you sold, but in terms of setting profit stops, you would have been profit stopped out in the mid 200s because there wasn't a big enough pullback to stop you out until this drops from 270 all the way down to 200. So if you're keeping your stops with a 30-cent overall range in this particular trade, you would have literally been out towards mid 200s. Like I said, we'll sell some and we'll leave some runners as well, and then we'll add to winners. But take a look, man. This is why the win rate doesn't matter. So like I said, man, if you have a 1,000% return, right, with the proper risk management 101, you put in your max risk per trade. Your entire position size is your max risk per trade, your R multiple. The most you lose is what you put in, which is your max risk per trade, a couple percent of your account. 5990 SPX puts at 3:51 p.m. Look at this, man. This is the power of SPX. You're risking 75 cents. You're risking $75 a fucking contract. One contract, 75 cents. And we ended up selling right here in the mid 600s at 3:55 p.m. in 4 minutes, man. Look at this fucking trade. Who the fuck do you know is doing this, man? This is what printing at the speed of fucking light looks like. This is the low. It bottomed at 20 fucking cents. We're in at 70 cents right here at 3:51 p.m. The trade goes from fucking 60 all the way to fucking 1,000. You understand? 60 to fucking 1,000. That's nearly a 2,000% profit return within less than 9 minutes trading SPX, man. Where are you going to be able to make a 2,000% return in less than 9 fucking minutes? That's why, even that situation, 2 for 4 on the day, 50% win rate, you're always green on the day. The system works, man. Like I said, in terms of our green rate ratio, it's above 90%. We are going green on the day above 90%. That doesn't mean that we win 9 out of 10 trades. That means we are green on the day. 9 out of 10 days, we are fucking green because of the percentages. The percentage gains always outweigh the percentage losses. Think about it. We make 1 or 2 SPX trades usually every single day during power hour trading session. If it doesn't work, we lose we lose 1 hour multiple. If it does work, we can make 5 to 10 R multiples, sometimes 15 to 20 in a single fucking trade in less than 30 fucking minutes, man. This is the power of SPX. 1,000% win means you could have 9 consecutive losses in a row and still be overall net positive, right? So I'm trying to show you in terms of the background to the system why the win rate does not matter. In terms of the win rate, it doesn't have to be 70, 80, 90%. But our green day ratio, we are green on our days 9 plus out of 10 times, you know? So that means out of every fucking 10 trading days, we're going to be green on our days above 9 times. Our ratio is typically like 9.5. So I'm trying to show you the power of SPX, man, because like I said, we do this every single fucking day where we have our SPX Extravaganza YOLO party. This is what we recommend everyone to fucking trade and focus on, because these trades offer the highest risk to reward, and they are the cheapest, lowest barrier to entry. And in terms of having a strong foundation as a trader is to figure out how to be successful with a low win rate. And the way to be profitable with the low win rate is to buy something that's cheap and low risk with the biggest percentage gains, which means you trade SPX when it's cheap and low risk, when the contracts are getting ready to expire worthless after 3:30 p.m. during the power hour trading session. And we're focused on buying far the money option contracts and selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. When the plays hit, they can go up 500 to 2,000% plus. When they don't hit, they can quickly go to zero, right? And we have an extremely high win rate as well. So that's the power of SPX. Like I said, man, who the fuck do you know is doing this? I mean, feel free to drop a name, man. I'm showing you everything it is that we're doing in real fucking time. This is exactly what it is that we're fucking doing in real fucking time. Let's buy 5990 SPX puts for 75 cents a contract at 3:51 p.m. These are the option quote prices moving in real time, right? So you have all the fucking time in the world to have your option chain open and fucking ready to click the fucking market buy button and get the fuck in. There's no fucking excuses to not be able to get in on this fucking trade. The alert is at 3:51 p.m. The quote's moving is at 3:51 p.m. That is more than enough fucking time, fucking seconds, fucking minute. Now, with that being said, set profit stops. So the contracts went from fucking 75 to fucking 400. Set the fucking profit stop at fucking 400. And then we're selling in the mid 6 fucking hundreds, man. And this is the full fucking play, man. So who the fuck do you know is fucking doing this, man? I called out SPX calls. They went up 100% twice, back to back. G-Roll called out SPX fucking puts once, and they went up 1,000% plus in less than 9 fucking minutes. This is the full fucking play. Where the fuck we got in, where the fuck we got out. So listen, man, if you're serious about trading alongside us, it's going to be the first link down below within the description. You gain access to our secure private organization. You gain access to our community. You gain access to a real-time zero-day options trading alert system where you gain access to all of our trade alerts. It's the first link down below within the description. We buy cheap, low risk, far out of the money zero-day options. We're known for selling them deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. In terms of our position sizing, we put in our entire max risk per trade as our entire position size, which is our R multiple. Worst case scenario, we lose our R multiple, which could be a couple percent of your overall account. Keep in mind, these are the cheapest low risk contracts. So even if you have a small account, not big enough cushion, well, you can risk less because all you need is one contract to grow your account, right? All you need is 50 cents, $50, $75, one contract to flip that to multiple hundreds of dollars to $1,000 plus sometimes on SPX every single day from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. This is the best trading strategy to be trading with real fucking money. The results are speaking for themselves, man. Every single day, I see DF, making gains, man. $500, $1,000, $1,500. I'm seeing it every single day, man. Like I said, we have a lot of the same consistent members that are consistently fucking crushing at $2,000 profit on the fucking day, man. Like I'm telling you, man. This type of play, this is what your portfolio is going to look like. You want to see what your portfolio is going to look like on a play like this? This is exactly what it's going to look like, right? So this play right here, this is fucking SPX dropping at the speed of fucking light, right? You're in right here. It's dropping 9 minutes on the fucking clock. Your out of money fucking puts are going in the fucking money within minutes, right? This is what it's going to look like. Your 75 cents is going to fucking turn into 700 fucking cents, right? We're doing that at least once every single fucking week, 1,000% return, right? And if you want to see what that fucking looks like, this is what it looks like. It looks just like this. Every single fucking time, it's going to look just like that almost. Just a straight fucking line up, man. That's what's going to happen during the power hour trading session. It's not going to work all the time, but it doesn't have to. It's like I said, man, 1,000% win is always going to outweigh a 50 to 100% loss, man. So, like I said, man, is the first thing down below in the description. And we're focused on trading the trend. We're focused on trading the best setups to those prices. We're focused on the highest risk reward ratio plays. If we're down like 50% on a play, a dead play, we just hold it. We don't even sell or cut for loss. We rarely do that. And we just buy a second strike at times. We buy a second strike. The second strike tends to be a lot better. We add to winners. We might even look to size in a little bit bigger on the second strike, right? And I tell you, I explained to you the system, man. Very simple. If you're green enough, walk the fuck away. 2 small wins in a row or 1 big win, you should be green enough to stop. And if you keep on fucking going, you risk 25 to 50% of your gains. If you lose that, you have to force yourself to stop trading because we're not going to go green to red, right? So the first trades on the day can get you green, where you can walk away, right? And if they're red, you come back during power hour, you make it all back with the power hour trading session it's going to hit, especially if the morning trading session doesn't hit, or you could just trade during power hour. Power hour offers the best plays, man. This is why power hour will always be the best, because at the end of the day, there's really no other time or ticker that you're going to be able to do this on. If you want to do this, where you buy 5990 SPX puts for 75 cents a contract, right? So you buy these fucking puts right fucking here. Right? This small, look at how small. You see how small this move? This looks like such a small fucking move. You see this? Look at how small this looks like. This looks like a very tiny fucking move, right? These are fucking options. This is fucking 60 cents to fucking 1,000. That's almost 2,000 fucking percent, man. Like, do you understand? 2,000 fucking percent. This move right here, this is a 1 minute chart. This is a 2,000% fucking increase in 9 fucking minutes. Power hour, SPX, every single fucking day, best trading session, 2 fucking trade. You don't have to trade during the middle of the day. You don't have to trade during the fucking morning. You can skip that. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Come in here, 30 minutes, and you watch how fucking insane your fucking portfolio is gonna fucking go up, man. So, losing in red is a personal fucking choice. The system works. We have many, many members where our format works for them. Like I said, man, we have hundreds of members who've been with us for nearly 2 years. And, we have a fuck ton of members. So if you want to print with us at the speed of fucking light, it's going to be the first link down below within the description, man. I can assure you, man, you gain access to our community. You gain access to real-time trade alerts. You gain access to our system. Trading alongside us, you're going to learn a lot. Like I said, the dead plays, so if something drops 50%, buy a second fucking strike, make it all back and more, trade the fucking trend. We have the entire day for the contracts to go green. If the contracts go green, set the profit stop. Green to red is a choice. And we leave runners, sell deep in the money for the biggest percentage gains. So we basically only lose, in a sense, if the trade never goes fucking above 10-15%. Because when it goes 10-15%, you set your fucking profit stops. So losing is a personal fucking choice. We have the entire day for that trade to go up 10-15%, which happens well before it goes in the fucking money. Once it goes in the fucking money, oh my gosh, it's fucking multiple 100% to 1,000% plus if you time it right. So is the first link down below within the description if you want to trade 0-day options with us, and you're going to gain a lot of experience trading alongside us as well. Like I said, man, who the fuck do you know is doing this? Like, come on, man. Like, who the fuck do you know is doing this? And this happens every single week. We're making 1,000% gains on SP fucking X, man. So if you can't figure out how to go green, making 1,000% gains, there's just no hope, man. If you can't figure out how to be profitable with 1,000% gains on SP fucking X, there's no fucking hope. And that's why I said, man, like we say all the time, like, best time to trade is the power hour trading session, because cheapest contracts, highest rewards, right? And we have a very high win rate during the power hour trading session. Not that we fucking need it, because if we make 1,000% every single week on a fucking trade, we could still be fucking green with 100% losses. And we have a very high fucking win rate. So you get the point, man. Best time to fucking trade is here. Biggest gains, cheapest prices, quickest period of time, within fucking minutes, right? Best fucking time. I'm giving you the fucking map. I'm giving you the keys to the map. All these fucking scalpers that people who just get in, they get out for small fucking gains. You really have to ask yourself, if they're so fucking good, if they know what the fuck they're doing, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they buying fucking SPX contracts at 50 cents and selling for 1,000 in fucking minutes? Why don't they do that? If everybody wants to get in and get out and don't want to hold a fucking trade, if that's what you're good at, not holding a trade, we hold our trades, we make big gains. But obviously during the power hour trading session, we don't have to hold our trades, right? They go up so fucking much, you don't even have to, but we can leave runners. But the point is, if you know how to trade and you don't hold for a long period of time, why the fuck wouldn't you do this? You don't even need a fucking stop loss, man. It's like if a trade can go to 50 cents to a fucking 1,000, why the fuck would you have a stop loss on? You can't afford to fucking lose $50, man. Listen, we're doing the complete opposite of what everybody you know of is fucking doing. Nobody you fucking know of or fucking follow is fucking doing this. Do you understand? Nobody's fucking doing this, man. So if you want to see something you've never seen before, if you want to experience something you've never experienced before, it's the first thing down below within the description, because I can assure you, in terms of trading with real money, this is the best fucking style. Trading during power hour, SP fucking X. With that being said, I'm going to be signing off. It's the first link down below the description if you want to trade alongside us and join our secure private organization, our community, and gain access to our trades and 0-day options trading alert system.